I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. We have a spectacular show lined up today. Very special guest. Her name, you've already read it on the information provided about this podcast. But she joins me and Andrew Quo. Alana Champion is here. Model, director, basketball genius. Woo. What's up, Alana?
What's up?
What's up?
Is that the introduction you were hoping for?
I mean, yeah. I guess I didn't think about. Yeah, I wish you did a more Joe House style on me. Did you ever listen to Joe House? House of Carbs.
You are so much more versed in podcast culture than I am. Andrew knows this kind of stuff.
I know exactly
well, you
what
worked for you worked for The Ringer, right?
Well, this is a dirty secret. I just make pods. I don't listen to them.
Yeah. I mean, better look, I will say.
There's some good pods out there.
Yeah.
But I hear Ben. It gets to be a lot. A lot of my friends are currently taking a break from pods, which makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I just want my takes unsullied by the takes of others. I like them pure, that straight drop for the Cookies listener.
See, that's the difference between you and me. I like mine sullied. I'm a sullied kind of guy.
You like to steal them and have them stolen.
Yeah.
I have a great take that's been completely perverted by everything that I've listened to over the last few days. It's just a corrupted take overall.
You have one right now, you're saying?
No, I'm just being Andrew. That's my Andrew impersonation.
But you don't want to like
Smirched
double
take.
up. You don't want to be like, yo, Netflix, I got this idea for a show. It's called Octopus Game. You're going to love it. And they're like, ooh, do you watch our channel? It's like, no.
I mean, that actually is true, because sometimes when you're interviewing an athlete, because they like giving really bland answers that won't get them in trouble, which I 100% understand, they'll give the same answer repeatedly over and over and over.
Yeah, we just got to do what we got to do. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Those are you were familiar with those ones. And if you don't pay attention to their other interviews, you end up looking quite bad. I remember with Allen Iverson, I interviewed him, and he gave this analogy or example, however you want to say it, about how cops today have neck tattoos. And I was like, oh, that's astute. And then I read another interview, and he had done it there. Then I saw him at like the Hall of Fame thing, and he did it there. I'm like, oh, you've got one thing. You like the cop neck tattoo story.
Wow.
You fell for that, man. Great.
I almost felt for it until I read like a David Aldridge story. I did my due diligence, unlike what I do with podcasts.
Right.
You're not missing much, man.
Well, I've never been on a podcast, so you guys will get first and only takes that I've ever said out loud.
So you just got back from Paris.
I did, yeah.
What a glamorous trip. What a nice time. How'd it go?
It was fucking crazy. It was a blip. Like I've only been to Paris twice. I was flown out, wined and dined by Yves Saint Laurent, who literally just for no reason at all took me business class there and back, and I stayed at the Ritz like on their dime.
Damn.
It was actually insane. It feels like a fever dream looking back at it. It was like 2 days of just like insanity. It was really fucking cool though. I mean, the show was cool. It was really like weird 80s porno vibes, like alien 80-pound cigarette heels, like craziness. Cool. They're like the only brand I feel like that are still just like unabashedly doing the like slightly non-PC thing. Like they're just like not really coming in, they're just not trying to like make it inclusive really, or like weight inclusive, race inclusive. It's just like, all right guys, like we're just still in the 80s. It's cool, let's do it.
I mean
90s.
That is kind of an interesting angle, because when everyone was just doing rail thin tall women who look like they were raised by wolves and
Yeah.
somewhere in the Balkans, you weren't unique. But when everyone's like people of all ages and shapes and sizes and this and that, and you're like,
Now
no,
it's unique again.
Balkan wolf raised. You're like,
Balkan wolf.
they're rebels. They're rebels now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's like I think they're just not trying to do the like street kind of urbanized thing that like even I saw like Dior's show is like doing that now, and like everyone's doing that, and that's suddenly sort of like the like really inclusive, like really different looking people and different sizes and all of that. Now that's what you see on every billboard, I guess. I mean, this is like, I don't even know if it's cool or not. It's just the way they're the only ones doing Balkan.
Yeah, that kind of happened in the art world because for 10 years it was all abstraction. And then everyone started painting like portraits of people, figurative painting, And the galleries that stuck to abstraction are just like looking crazy now. And like, we just had the same paintings this whole time. Like, you guys are wild.
Yeah, just shameless, honestly.
So when you were wined and dined by Saint Laurent, are they asking for anything in return? Are they like, hey, you got to like drop some hot posts?
Like,
Or
literally no.
They like just
literally
come through and hang.
no. Yeah, come through and hang. Like, let me spend literally probably $20,000 on you, who is nobody, to just like literally not post, not just like trash my dress and like leave. Like, literally, there was no rhyme or reason to it other than like I was absolutely blessed by the Balkan lords to be taken there.
Are they buttering you up for like a collab or some sort of?
I mean,
like,
I don't know. They've been like, ever since I was like 15, they invited me to a party in LA. It was one of the best parties I've ever been to. It was at the Palladium. Everyone that went to that party will always remember that. Like, there was dudes like flying off the balcony, like just insanity like going
like
on.
Cirque du Soleil kind of thing.
No, just like fighting, like more like just like gnarly, coked out, like rock and roll rage.
Oh, that's great. Wait, what was the music? What was the vibe?
The
there,
vibe
like, a
was
hardcore
that
band?
like it was just like there was a show, like they walked and then it was just like, all right, lights off, like music on, like let's just start just drinking and dancing and. One thing led to another. But anyway, ever since then, I don't even remember how they just like looked for kids in LA, I feel like. And that's when Hedy Slimane was doing it. And they invited me and a few of my friends when we were in high school. And ever since then, they've been like just sending gifts randomly. Like, I don't even know how they know where I live because I've been all over the place. Like, I'll get to New York and like I'll be staying at my friend's and I'll get this like little box from them. Actually, this past box that I got from them was like, it said "Enjoy your summer," and it was a literal rape whistle, a leopard condom, a leopard towel, and like I don't even know, like a silver water bottle. Yeah, they were just like, "Enjoy your summer, Alana."
I mean, it was like, probably a lifeguard's whistle, but I liked that it was interpreted as a rape whistle.
There's two of them. I swear it's a rape whistle. It's like a chrome, like it's just like. I mean, I guess it could work either way. Yeah,
it's a rape whistle. They gave me a rape towel. They sent me rape sunscreen.
And a condom. Actually, savage. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this whole Saint Laurent thing is the long shadow of James Goldstein. Just like
I saw the man there. Actually, he was at the game. I took out my phone and whipped a photo of him really quickly.
I mean, I guess you're going to get out to France one of these days, and they're going to be like...
At the game, no, I think I said. At the show, he was at the show.
We need to know your takes on Caruso. Like, it's all a scam to learn about the basket.
Yeah, the basket.
Tell us about your basket.
Me and James Goldstein are there for a reason, yeah.
I remember seeing him at... I guess it was like a Vogue anniversary party in Paris. And I mean, I don't want to reveal too much. We kept trying to like foist women off upon him.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
What?
he was there, and we'd say to women who are like, "You should go talk to this guy. That's James Goldstein. Go talk to him." We're really
It's
trying
like,
to
I mean, I
hook him
think
up.
the
Not that
guy
he needs
buys
our help,
himself into all of that stuff. I'm pretty sure he like why would he be invited to all of these like? I mean, he definitely has season tickets to games, but like fashion wise, like why do they want him there? I think he buys his own seat. No shade, Jimmy, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
no one wants you.
I mean, I'm not saying that. We love Jimmy around here.
Yeah, we
I'm
love him,
saying,
actually. Yeah.
I'm saying he has boasted. He has boasted that he spends more money on NBA tickets than anybody else. I mean, I think he said that to me personally one time when I was getting quotes from him and just was asking about basketball at some fashion event. And I think it's checked out. He seems to be paying for final seats. I don't think he's getting comped anywhere.
No.
I'm on
legitimately
hey,
just buys
goals,
seats.
honestly. Goals.
I'm on his wiki right now. James Goldstein is an American businessman who attends over 100 NBA games each season. That's the first sentence. I mean,
so that is actually
relate.
what I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's aspirational, right? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And he's mostly draped in like Crocodile and Saint Laurent. So all these
Yeah.
vectors are coming together here.
He's got a
Yeah,
team, right?
actually.
Is he the Clippers or is he the
No,
Lakers?
he's Lakers.
No, he hates the Lakers.
What? He's been at every game I've ever been to.
I know,
Courtside.
but he hates the Lakers. I asked
He's
him.
a Clippers
he said,
guy,
he said,
right?
I hate the Lakers. No, he just goes to Lakers games, but he says he doesn't like the
Damn.
Lakers.
I mean, he must have so many thoughts, honestly, about like that's pretty cool, actually. Like sometimes I hate the fucking Clippers, but I'll watch Clippers just to like see what's going on and what we're working with, and like how like make a better argument for myself. He must have like the ultimate argument.
Yo,
He's watched so much.
Are Lakers fans who hate the Clippers punching down? Like,
What do you mean?
what have the Clippers ever done? Right? Like, are
Racist fundamentally.
but not the players.
I mean,
right?
not
Are you
them,
rooting
yeah,
against the
not
players? Like,
No. Well, I'm rooting a little bit against the
For
players.
sure,
obviously.
yeah, we're doing this, right?
Like the fat racist.
It's more the it's the
phantom
franchise
of,
and the
of-
fandom.
of Sterling.
Yeah, it's the franchise and the fandom. It's what they're made of. It's like also the fans that. It's just like they have no place. They're bitter. They like double down all of the time because they honestly are just like orphans to this city, and like they just want to be. It's just there's so much more joy and happiness surrounding the Lakers franchise and just like straight up glamour and fun. And like, I mean, I have friends I grew up with in LA who are like Clippers fans, but they're just so. They have a chip on their shoulder. They're bummed on the world, and and everything's hateful and just a bummer, and like it's because they're jealous, honestly.
Yeah.
Are you not respecting their radical vulnerability?
No, I'm not. I guess I don't know. I mean, Kawhi's out. That's the only guy I really root for, and like whatever.
No PG
dude.
love.
No,
Paul George?
none at all.
No.
None at
Wow.
all.
Well,
Respect.
let's get more into Lakers later.
Only
more
respect
later.
for he's a lefty, right? I'm a lefty, so I always appreciate the lefties, but
The Leftorium is what they call their
So
new-
you're back in New York.
I'm
Andrew's been
back
talking
in
a
New
lot
York.
about it. He's been talking about a lot about this vegan beef sandwich.
Oh man,
Andrew
it's
keeps
good.
talking about it. I have not had it.
What?
He saw Lance Thomas, former Knick legend. They're also queuing up for a vegan beef sandwich. Andrew, can you tell us about this?
It's awesome. It's like Orchard Grocers on obviously Orchard Street, right next to Last
oh yeah,
Lap.
for sure.
The champions of the Cookie Soups Classic. But it's right on that strip, and I went to get the vegan Reuben. That shit
vegan
is
Reuben.
so good. Holler at that
Wow.
sandwich, cause
Wait, it's at Orchard Grocers.
yeah, everything there is vegan anyway. And it's not
Yeah.
cheap, and
Same
I'm
with that place. I just went because I was living on Orchard in Broome for a second, just like a few days ago, or 11 days ago, actually. I lived there for the month of September, but I was hitting up that place, Fat Choi. It's also vegan. It's on Orchard.
yeah. Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty bomb. But anyway, yeah, maybe if I'm ever back down in that twisted little area, I'll hit up.
It's good. It made me mad at first because it was the beet juice trick. It was just like we take seitan and we
Oh yeah, to make
marinate
it
in
like
beet.
bloody.
Totally. And then when I got the sandwich, I was like, So I have this beef with, no pun intended, with 11 Madison, right? So
Oh yeah,
you know about
yeah.
this
I heard
review.
about this where they have an actual. They're like manufacturing meat as
Well,
well.
I wish.
Did you hear about that? No, they
Are
are.
you talking about the secret beef room?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we've been
Yeah,
all over the secret beef story.
Yeah.
Alana, you've missed the last couple of pods because like we've really gone deep on this. I mean,
The
just
secret beef room.
just so we don't have to cover
That's
it
what I'm
again,
gonna call
tell
my
you,
like late night after party. It's like, yo, come to the secret beef room.
the only thing I'm just going to get into here, because it's been well documented on the world's most influential basketball podcast, is that those were pre-existing reservations for dining rooms that happened before and were paid for before they switched over to being vegan. However, that does not mean that you can't call your late night party the secret beef room.
Yeah,
That is still fine.
Yeah.
it's
So-
actually better. Yeah.
So my thought is, like, I am exceedingly frustrated by vegetarian spots. They're like, we let the carrot shine. Do you know how delicious celery is? I'm like, no, take like 50 of these things and make me a turducken. Like, I want
Oh,
some
I see.
magic. You know, I don't want authenticity. I don't want someone to be like, the humble bean is, is
Oh,
undervalued.
so that's
in our
interesting because I
society.
think I was about to disagree and say like I'd maybe rather not have a replica of meat if I'm gonna have like a vegan thing or a vegetarian thing. Like I'd rather just be like the superiority burger.
Sure.
It's not looking like a burger. It's looking like a burger. It's not tasting like a burger or feeling
right.
like one. But you're kind of saying you want the gastronomical level. You want it to bleed. You want it to taste like meat.
Yo, go off, right? Especially when the meal is $300 and the sandwich is $14, $13.
Yeah.
And that sandwich was very convincing, and if
That's
not more
cool.
delicious than a normal Reuben. Our
I think I sort of split the difference here, because I do say absolutely the humble bean. Bring out the
Yeah,
flavor of
that's
the
my
humble
love
Vulcan
bean.
those
energy
beans,
coming
man.
out. Yeah.
I love showing the beans who's boss. I love giving them a good soaking. And
Or letting
there
the
they are.
beans
You're
show
a
you
fava
who's
boy.
boss.
Yeah, you're a fava boy.
I mean,
you talked about this.
I bought 10 pounds of favas, fresh fava, 10 pounds of favas.
bro.
My fridge was just full of favas. They were like falling out all over the place. I ended up throwing around half of them out.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get through that many favas. But
Jesus.
point remaining, or humble bean on one hand, or give me a magic trick.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Let
I
it
like the
bleed.
magic
Let the
trick, too. That's
beans
cool.
bleed.
yeah. Soak them in beet juice. Soak everything in beet juice, man.
Or real blood, honestly.
Yeah. Take the carrot, soak it in pig's blood.
Just like a total mix. That's pretty good.
But yeah, I want to be tricked fully. But Ben, I have another question that I'm sure our listeners and Alana want to know. What happened to your trove, your treasure trove of bucatini? Did you ever have a party that you did not invite us to?
Shit.
Yo,
Oh,
Alana, he's hoarding bucatini.
Oh my. Well, it's a shortage right now. Bucatini
Yo,
has a
yeah.
shortage.
It's not
Holy
because of my hoarding. My hoarding is a result of the shortage.
Bucatini Ben.
I didn't cause the shortage. So I have a case of bucatini that I've been working my way through.
Oh, so you've been eating it.
I've been eating it. I think I've probably eaten about 4 boxes out of
4
I guess
pounds.
20.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've had this for a while. Like, this is not like over the last 2 days.
It's a
although it would be
pandemic
possible.
vibe. Yeah.
Well, I've never been a pandemic hoarder, except the bucatini shortage was real. I haven't seen it on a shelf in like 9 months. So
Yeah,
I
dude.
went
It
to
is the
plug.
best shape. I will agree.
No, come on.
Really,
Come on.
I'm a
Let's be
bucatini
serious.
head as well.
Is it bigger than rigatoni has the most surface area? So that is like
Rigatoni?
maximalist. That's maximalist. But for like long strands, we got to
Long
go with
strands.
regular ass spaghetti, right? Like spaghetti is king.
I don't know. I mean, bucatini has this like weird. I can understand. Like sometimes bucatini's hard to cook. It's like gets like kind of like dry in the middle or something, or it's like too chewy, or I don't know. Like sometimes I've failed at cooking bucatini, but when it's good, it's good.
If the strands are too
10
long,
10
no
minutes.
water gets into the middle. Totally.
Yeah.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 straight minutes. Yeah.
Bucatini, 10 minutes. 9 to 11 minutes. As someone with a case of bucatini, let me tell you.
Well, that was
That's
a
your timing.
disappointing answer, Ben.
But Andrew, I want to know let's just backtrack for a second here.
All right.
You were acting very whorish when it came to surface area.
Yeah, you
Is
were.
that your joke? No, you were being a huge whore about the amount of
Surface slut.
surface area on pasta. Is that all you care about?
Yep. I am a salute for surface area, because if we're trying to do this thing right, like someone invented a pasta shape last summer and it looked like kind of a weird seahorse, and he's like, well, there's surface area here to trap sauce, and the whole goal of pasta, textured pasta, is like to trap sauce. Like, so when you get the good bucatini, it goes through like a certain metal that has a little tooth to it. You guys know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I guess you guys are like going above my head with this process.
Hells yeah.
I get what you're saying now about surface area. It's not really about like how much square footage it is, but how much like the sauce can cling to the thing.
It's efficiency. It's a dunker, right? Like, it's someone who's just like, I'm not gonna mess with long shots. I'm just gonna dunk it every time.
I mean, yeah, we could talk about dunking.
Oh, we will. But rigatoni is like a humble shape that like you can buy like pre-boxed mac and cheese, and like it is not exotic like bucatine, but
What about
it
then
is
if
the
you're a
superior.
surface area hooker? Why not just go like pappardelle and just call it a day?
That is
Basically
probably
paper.
Yeah, but that's
The
not.
slipperiest one.
Yeah, but that probably has the least amount of surface area because it's a
Yeah,
flat surface. You want a ribbon, right? You want like a ramen noodle that's
You're
like
meaning
a,
clinging area, not surface area.
I mean surface area, like you know how ramen's Justin Timberlake hair shaped? How they like kind of, it's not you can buy straight ramen, but this is curly. They do that for packaging, but it also increases kind of like the zones where stuff can get captured in. This is some science.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is why you
for
are
real.
the surface area whore.
The
Can we
hooker,
say
the
that
clinger,
word?
the surface
Yeah.
area slicker.
Yeah, I'm a pasta gigolo.
Wow.
Ah, guilty as charged.
So, Alana, what are the vibes like right now? Can we get a quick vibe check? Like
Vibe check is
downtown. How are the vibes? Off? On? Where are we at?
on, dude. The vibes are on in New York for me right now. I'm like loving it here. I mean, I live in LA. I've been living in LA. I'm from LA, but I'm just not ready to be there right now, like for all the time. Like it's just it's slow, man. I mean, it's slow out there. But so I've been loving summer and fall in New York. It's really great. I'm actually going to Europe next week for a little bit, and then back to New York, then LA for the holidays. But yeah, I've just been hopping around a bunch of different apartments. I was actually scammed, big time scammed out of my long-term sublet. So that's why I've been hopping around so
Do you
much.
want to tell us the story?
Yeah, I could tell you the story. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just that I went onto Craigslist and I met a guy named James Johnson, and I know it sounds insane, but I swear he seemed legit. Like
We're
he
talking
sent me
about the
this
same.
place.
Isn't
No,
there a
James Johnson. Oh my god, and it's
on
so
the,
funny.
Miami Heat?
It's so funny. The day. Well, I thought wasn't he on the Nets?
He's probably been on many teams. I thought he was on the Grizzlies currently.
I thought he signed to the Nets the day that I found out that my James Johnson scammed me.
Everyone talks about him being a karate expert. That's all I know.
Whoa, that's crazy.
You're right. He's
But-
on the Nets right now.
Yeah, he's on the Nets. Yeah.
Enforcer. So James Johnson scammed you out of karate classes and a sublet.
He's like, I'm in New York, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
He basically he drew me up a rental agreement. He sent me a video of this place. It was in the East Village. It was perfect price. It was like a 3.5 month thing, and then I sent him like a deposit and 1 month's rent, and then he kind of just ghosted me. And also he gave me his workplace, his girlfriend's
Barclays
Instagram.
Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The paint.
Yeah, the paint. and then I basically I called I was tripping because it was a week before I got to New York, and he was kind of not responding, and then the only thing he would say would be in kind of like more and more increasingly broken English, he'd be like, do you want to send all of the rent right now instead? And I'd be like, no, man, like, let me just get there and like, I'll meet you at this time. And then he kind of just altogether ghosted me. So I was getting paranoid. I called his workplace and it was just this woman who was like, no, he doesn't work here. I don't know who this is. And also, does he have like a Google voicemail? Is his name this? Like, is his text turning green? And I was like, holy shit. She's like, yeah, he tried to scam me too, and now he's using my workplace. So yeah, pretty gnarly. I filed a police report, tried to get my money back, didn't happen, but friends have been gracious. I've been like staying on couches and various house sitting circumstances. I was subletting, blah blah blah.
Wait, so he still has your money?
He has my money. I couldn't believe that they said they need his approval to force debit it out of his account. I'm just like, my money.
I don't approve.
They need his
says
his
James
consent.
Johnson. I disagree.
Also,
Anyway,
someone
James
named
Johnson, if you're listening to this, let's dish it out. Let's duel it out on the paint. Honestly, let's go to Barclays. And
also someone named James Johnson who has a foreign accent is kind of a red flag. But it wouldn't
his
stop
name
me
is
either.
for sure not James Johnson. Is what I came to the realization.
Yeah, it wouldn't stop me either. I think I'd just be like, this is normal until it's not, right? And then when it's not, you're just. And
yeah.
I'm kind of, if you are like the authorities or the credit card company, you just be like, well, like, are you trying to back out of a lease? We don't know what's going on. Like, we need to talk to this James Johnson dude.
Yeah.
Like, talk to my associate, Timothy Lualo Cabarro.
Oh, the French. He's definitely French.
This scam is familiar to me. Not that I've ever fallen victim to it, but no offense. But I remember emailing about a Craigslist apartment that I saw, and the people's response was very suspicious because it was in broken English and like, hey, send like information for your credit, and then we'll let you see the place. And I'm like, the rent actually is too good to be true. I mean, this was during the pandemic, so I thought people were kind of pandemicking.
Right.
But when I looked up the address, I'm like, that place is on a different website for a whole lot more money. And
yeah, that's
it's not
what
even
ended up
available
happening
from what I
with
could
me.
tell.
I think I got starry-eyed about it, and I even asked him if I could go lower with the rent. And I've experienced that too. Like, I asked like 6 other people on there, and they were like, sketchy, I felt. So I went with this dude who sent me like it wasn't just photos of the place, it was like a video of a dude like doing like an apartment tour. So I don't know how he got that, but it was like the place was literally way too good to be true. It had like a fucking patio and like all this shit.
That's
like,
how they get you, Alana. That's how they always
I'm
get
done.
you.
But I thought it was pandemic
takes 2 to
too.
tango. Yeah.
It's like, trust me, I am not the new starting shooting guard of the Knicks, and I am not French. I guarantee you, sacre bleu. That's wild. That's a wild story, though. That would make me extremely bitter about life.
Yeah, I think I've cut my losses at this point. But
And yet you're saying the vibes are on. What a good
The
what a
vibes
good
are
sport.
on. The vibes are on. Yeah,
Wow.
New York is too good, honestly.
What did the
What are
Lakers
some
do
other-
to deserve a good fan like you?
Well, hold on.
All right.
What I want to know is, have you fallen victim to any other scams while here? Like what are some other ones? You know, the one where the guy walks behind you and like bumps into you and then knocks his glasses off and says, "You broke my glasses."
Oh, the
And
vodka
it'll
bottle
do-
trick.
Yeah, it's a vodka bottle with glasses. They'll
Yeah.
drop something in the ground, be like, "Oh my god, you these
I
cost
locked my kids in my
$200."
car. I need money for a ticket. My kids are like in my car. I'm stressed that I'm trying to get to Philly. All this stuff.
Honestly, I
yeah,
think I'm
those are
more.
good.
I've been more of the scammer than I have scammed in history.
Any good ones? Can you teach us?
I'll tell you one story. My friend Hunter, shout out to Hunter Crowder, is probably gonna literally laugh at this, but this dude basically, I mean, you get weird shit when you do modeling and you're on Instagram, naturally. So like, I mean, this guy didn't even come to me. He came to my buddy through email and he's basically this was like 2 or 3 years ago. He's basically this doctor from Seattle that like works on like lung health and like studies like cigarette and nicotine, whatever. And he, I guess, simultaneously has a fetish for smoked cigarettes. So he asked he asked
What?
on behalf of my friend. He like knows that my friend is like a buffer somehow. He was like, "Hey Hunter, like good evening. Like this is my life story. This is who I am. I promise. Like it's only about this, but like unfortunately I do have this fetish. And would your friend Alana BC/Alana Champion smoke a pack of cigarettes or a bunch of pack of cigarettes that I send, and then you guys just simply send them back to me, and I will pay you like $500 a pack."
That's a good deal.
And then we did it. I mean, Hunter
Yeah.
was like, he came to me. He's a businessman. He came to me with this with this proposition, and he was just like, "Listen, I don't even smoke. I will put on lipstick and just like smoke every last cigarette there. But I feel that this is a good idea in the long run. He's offering 3 packs, $500 a pack. Like, let's just do this and see if it works out. And also like a weird initiation fee too. He was gonna give for like starting the business together." And we were like, okay, so we did it. We honestly just brought, like, he sent packs, which is, like, insane.
Yeah, why did he do
So we were
that?
like, okay, so this is already, like, this is happening. He, like, sent packs. And then we just, like, go to a party and, like, dish them out, but we pick up all the butts. Like, I don't think anyone really, like, specific smoked the cigarettes, but we just put a bunch of butts into the pack and sent it back. And then like 3 weeks later, he was like, you know, go to the MoneyGram and whatever. And we go to the MoneyGram in the like on Hollywood and Vine, and we literally get like $1,000 just starts rolling out of the MoneyGram. We were just like, dude, we just like split it halfway, and like just I don't know. We should hit him back up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about his motivations here, like because it could go a few different ways. One, it could just be this, you know, he's a lung doctor, studies smoking because it turns him on. There's that, of course.
Right.
He could be just trying to drum up business. Like,
could work
here's
at
3
YSL.
packs of smoke. Yeah, here, you know, smoke them all, and now you have lung cancer and you're coming to me. Or it's like the reverse psychology of like, now you've got to smoke the whole pack, and I'll keep you away from cigarettes by forcing you to smoke 3 packs. There's a lot of angles here for this guy.
There's a lot of angles, but
isn't this like,
you know,
isn't this like Occam's razor? The most logical angle would be he gets a boner from these smoked
he
cigarettes.
just jerks off all over the butts of like a homeless. We literally just probably picked up like homeless people cigarette butts.
Ben, you're kink shaming, man. You're calling him a liar? Like,
Yeah.
maybe he's just being honest about his kink.
I mean, I am with you. The most honest explanation is probably that he's like, I want to jerk off over cigarette butts. That's my
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just funny with these guys. Like, he really doesn't think that like there's any situation in which I just certainly am not the one smoking those cigarettes. Like,
Eye of the beholder.
yeah, I'm the beholder. Yeah.
What kind of cigarettes did he send you? Were they just like Parliament? Or?
I think they were just like mine of choice. I feel like Camel Blues or some shit.
I like that. He's making it easy for you. You know, like
Yeah,
you can
he's
go
like-
get
yeah.
your cigarettes, but he's sending them right to your doorstep. So
He's like, listen, I know this is weird. He was honestly like kind of apologetic, and like that's why he wanted to tell us about himself. He's just like, he's kind of like ashamed of himself. He's like, listen, this is the deal with me, and like if you're down, like I'll make it easy as possible, but if you want to make some money, I gotta have this happen for me. Like, let's unfortunately, like, let's just work together.
So, I guess the more dire question here is like, so he's got 60 cigarette butts. Does he like pile them up, or does he like meet them out? Like, okay, this is like a good like 2 months worth of cigarette butts that I can like use.
I
them
feel like
individually.
he was like, because this was supposed to be a long-term thing. Like I feel like maybe we had stopped responding at one point, or I mean, there was like, it did start with 1 pack, and then I think it went to like 2, and then like, so it kind of, he was in it for the long haul, probably storing them up, yeah.
and then he's like, "Here's a ticket to come out to Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah. It was James
There's so
Goldstein
many
Johnson.
cigarettes.
Here's a whistle. I've gotten you this whistle."
Yeah. Oh my god, he's the one sending. He's literally. Oh my god, I'm being scammed by mine, so that's why I haven't worked for them.
Yeah. It's the Yves Saint Lawrence.
Yeah.
They're just slowly picking up the cigarette butts when you leave like the event.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this
Wow.
this leads me to a thing that I've been thinking about that is like I spent a lot of my time on Twitter, and I feel like it's the only place where an age discrepancy of 20 to 30 years is acceptable. I was trying to think of another time in a socially accepted place that you could like talk to somebody who's 30 years older or younger than you every day about freedom of speech
really
for 5 years.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's even acceptable on the other apps. Like Instagram, shit starts getting weird.
Yo. They come for you, right? And like it's not okay to do that. It's like predatory or kind of like scammy if you're young and like seek the advice of it. And of course there's situations like mentorships. Some people came at me and be like, Tony Hawk does it. I'm like, but does he spend like 5 years debating the Constitution? Like
But
this is really.
But is this only also because it's not a workplace, right? Because those kind of multi-generational, intergenerational conversations happen all the time in like an office building.
I would still claim that's mentorship. Right? Like a younger kid can't talk shit to an older
the
person.
Educational, like teacher.
Oh, I see.
A younger kid's not clowning their boss.
You're saying it's an equal footing.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. Oh no, I'm just trying to comprehend this.
I thought about this because I get a lot of hate mail because they did like the stupid New York Times. A New York Times op-ed that made people really mad. And I
redesigned the flag for love and empathy. How can you call that stupid?
Yeah. It was about Ben Simmons. But and I get a lot of messages from people being like, you're the worst thing ever, with worse language, obviously. And then I go to their page and it's clearly like a 14-year-old. Yeah, and I'm a washed old man. And I'm just like, oh, I can't interact with you. But you're insulting me in a way.
You're
that
trying
I'm
to say
peer.
it in the reverse, like you're the victim to their perversions and
you're being bullied by teens. It's like riding the subway.
You're saying there's a frustrating threshold because okay, but I would say like if there's nothing about you being like coercive or like weird and sus or like flirtatious in any way, then you can say, hey 20-year-old, like you're hurting my feelings, back off. Like I think that's fine. I don't think that you have to say because you're 20 I can't speak to you. Yeah.
Well, I don't engage, but like it made me realize a lot of the people I do engage with on Twitter about like hoops or whatever for years.
They're so young.
They might be like 17 years old, and I'll have no idea.
Sure.
You know where it happens?
Look, I'm deeply wounded by what you said, but I just want you to know this message is not sus.
Don't cancel me.
Yeah.
There's nothing here. I'm just really, really hurt.
I did not look at all your photos on Instagram and Twitter to check out how old you might be.
I did not send you a bunch of cigarettes in return for $500.
Yeah.
No,
some shenanigans.
I just feel bad.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's weird because, especially as basketball season's heating up and we're about to all fire off our takes, I'm like, yo, some of these, I can't interact with some of these very aggressive people anymore because, like, they might be 90 years old and they're like 50 years older than me, you know? Mm-hmm. Disrespectful. Punching up.
Well, we saw this, during especially like the Democratic primaries, right? Where you had younger Bernie fans who are on Twitter and are just better at it.
Control.
But they're funny and they're just better at it, and there was a lot of them because it's a younger generation thing. And then you had maybe Elizabeth Warren's population was older and less funny, just wasn't funny. So they were like, these Bernie bros are out of control, and like part of this is just the talent level. Like
totally.
they're better than you at this than like the K Hive, for example.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it's just
more
familiarity with
charged.
the material, right? Like it's
Yeah, the
just
lingo and
yeah.
like yeah, there's a
It's
specific humor to all of it that
Like,
the
why are
older
they posting
folks
corn
don't get.
cobs? I don't get it.
or like it's a
Yeah.
senator being like, "Can you stop the Finsta movement?" And they're like, "Well, that's just a word." And he's like, "Well, can you stop it?" And she's like, "No." And he's just like in incessantly
It's
confused,
kind of
you know?
like that stock market shit like that happened a few months ago, like with the GameStop.
GameStop.
Yeah, yeah.
That was confusing, but like the old heads won, right? Like,
Right, ultimately, yeah.
well, they control the price, but like,
Right.
yeah, we'll see with NFTs
But the
and
trolling
Should
was legit on the part of the
yeah, it was weird.
should we stop the Finsta movement? Should
Finsta
we
movement.
band together to stop the Finsta movement?
I have
or
so many Finstas.
I mean, listen, I have a
Well-
Finsta myself, but I will say, and maybe I'm just gonna
James Johnson.
maybe maybe I'll be self-critical too. I don't think Finstas are good or necessary, or if they're not funny or if you're not posting on them. It's like, I mean, and I fall victim to this. It's like I kind of fell off my Finsta. I felt like I naturally needed one so I could post like funny shit
Yep.
that my friends could see only, and not just like, you know, the random James Johnsons and 20 whatever year olds of the world. Just kidding, I'm 23, but 14-year-olds. But yeah, if your Finsta's not like racy and like hot takes and like just like rapid fire, like better competing at a better level than your regular gram, then trash it. It's not worth it.
and did the private stories or close friend stories, did that shut down the Finsta movement anyway?
Yeah, that's
Can't you
true.
just
also,
can't you just limit your stories and say, cool, that's exactly what I would have used a Finsta for?
yeah, I think at this point it's too boring to be on all these accounts, and it's just fucking Instagram is weird.
Oh, my Finstas are so lame. They're just like
At this point, mine are too. I felt like when the movement began, it was more called like trap account. Like it would be like my trap account is like cool and juicy and like yeah, like everyone wants to follow her trap. But like then, yeah, like as soon as you know, Instagram is part of a tool for my work too, and I'm just like I don't want to be on here. Like I don't know. I'd rather spit the tea in person.
Yeah, I have a friend who's an awesome painter, and she has a Instagram that's great. That's her whole process from start to finish in her studio, and then she has another account that's just her butt, and it's so funny. It's like her butt in weird places.
I mean,
and
that's
it's
another form of art. If you're gonna do
Yeah.
it like, yeah, really like specific and have like an angle, and it's just like always going off. There's always new content. Then it's kind of a meme account of its own. It's like a funny troll account. Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
felt like NBA players were really into Finsta, but I don't know if
Kevin Durant's like the king of it. I feel like.
well, they did the burners, but I felt like they also had their Finsta because they had to be
Right.
so like family friendly and
Right.
non-controversial. I mean, if most guys in their main account on main, excuse me.
On Maine, yeah.
Well, right. They have like their publicists and agents are probably like, you need an account for your fans, right? To like thank your fans, to give updates on your brand, and then if you want to post pictures of like the Paul Pierce pictures of you doing adult things in your own house on a Saturday night,
Draymond
you should
Green.
keep that
Was that
separate.
Draymond Green that Snapchat dick pic?
That sounds
definitely
familiar.
was.
That was insane. The two-tone, yeah. I remember I saw that. I saw that while like live. Like I literally was on Snapchat at the exact
Draymond
moment
shit.
he posted, and I screenshotted it and then it was immediately deleted. And I was like, damn, no one else. Like it's definitely on all these like chat rooms now, and you know probably Twitter and the likes. But I really got to see that live. I got to see it live.
Was that a
And then there was-
mistake?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
a mistake.
yes.
It wasn't like he's just like, get ready, guys. It was just like, whoops.
I think he meant to send it and then he storied it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You thought it was like 11 p.m. like cock reveal.
He's
like
just like,
log on.
Let's
The
It's gonna be up for
tubing,
1
man.
second.
He's pulling the tubing, right? Like he's chilling, being like, guys, defense wins games. We take each play one play at a time. I'm nothing without my teammates. And he gets up, and it's just his dong.
Oh yeah, I like that idea that he
down,
like.
actually.
I like that he like fumbled the idea that he fumbled the phone, like inadvertently was like punching multiple buttons on it as it like kind of like hovered in midair above him, and like took a picture of his dick, sent it to other people, and then like deleted it even before it landed.
Yeah. Just phone going crazy, like, yeah.
What happened?
I mean,
don't
I
know.
feel like that was 2016. Like, maybe he was like, I don't know, feeling some type of way on the Warriors or something.
I mean, I'll be honest. Like, Snapchat never felt that intuitive to me. I could see broadcasting a penis inadvertently. It could happen potentially.
Yeah.
Well,
Totally.
it just had not the best interface.
No.
But yeah, I mean, all these apps push you to like make you edgelords, right? And eventually you just fall off that edge.
Yeah, you gotta fall off at some point.
They're just
I mean, I
edging
will
you
say
closer and closer and closer to the reveal.
Pretty much, that Facebook Senate hearing. It's just like, well, eventually we want everyone to show their Draymons. That's the
That's why
direction
we have
we're
the
going.
Finsta senator.
How do we prevent the Draymond from happening? It's like, well, that's our goal.
The Finsta limits exposure. This goes all the way up to the Senate.
Maybe I was on his close friends on Snapchat and I didn't even know.
That's right.
So, basketball news here.
Okay.
Let's talk. Here's my question. Quo's bringing up intergenerational stuff. You're 23.
Mm-hmm.
Did you really get to even see prime Kobe? And I brought this up before because I remember talking with Sheck West, and he was the one who's like, he's like your age, and he was like, I didn't even get to see like real prime Kobe. And my response was,
definitely
holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So
I
what's
mean,
your
I got
Kobe
to
memory,
see-
I guess?
What's my Kobe memory?
I don't mean a specific one. I mean, like, what,
Yeah, I mean,
he is obviously
I did get to see
the king.
Kobe play. I got to see him play. I feel like just honestly, if like, I'm not even talking like, specific like ball memory, but like just like, I guess Mamba mentality like changed my outlook completely on basketball. And I just like thought that was so cool to come from this like kind of just evil place and just like of anger and like just rage and like just like that to me is what changed my mind on basketball. I was just like, or just changed my outlook on it. Just like, whoa, like it's almost like a Malcolm X style like way of thinking. It's just like anger and rage that pushes you, that motivates you, and like, you bring out, it's like, we're on demon time, let's go. Like, let's use pent up anger and hate to like actually win, which is like, you never really hear that because LeBron doesn't play like that, and like, no, not many people play like that. And I just think that's like, I think maybe something about me being in high school and like kind of learning about that, and then just like, I mean, he ended up not being that kind of guy later on, and just
It was interesting because he was marketed incredibly differently when he first came out, because he was presented in some ways as the anti-Iverson, because he grew up in Italy, he spoke Italian, he went to the prom with Brandy, or Brandy went with him, however you want to, say that. Maybe, I guess it was his prom, but anyway,
I don't even know.
Right, but he was brought out like marketing wise as like the golden child, the future of basketball, and then of course the sexual assault charges played a big role in him becoming the Mamba. But it is interesting to hear from a younger person that his legacy is one of like nastiness, and
Totally.
I like that a lot better than the
Working
trajectory
hard.
that if you've been around for longer, it's about like harnessing evil, not being in the gym, just being like mean as shit.
And
it's
it
some
probably
Darth
has
Vader
to
shit.
do with like haters and like just like the way that people I'm sure it had to do with the way that people were perceiving him or projecting him as that golden child, and then like he failed at that, and like that only made him stronger, or like only made his game more effective. Like it's just cool. It's cool to be evil. I'm just like, that is fucking like that must be like the strongest energy, honestly, because like I don't know. I get very bored watching someone talk like, you know, Steph Curry, for example. Like, it's just like God and love and actually just nothing at all. Like, he has no personality to me. And
like, can you kick in maybe something a little more Lord of Fliesy? You know, like
yeah, it's like,
Beelzebub-ish,
let's just
perhaps?
hear something, yeah, a little,
Bars.
a little
Yeah.
dirtier.
Is Kobe the hater, or is Kobe being seen by the haters? Who high hater you
Is he
see?
the- is he-
Where's Kobe?
Is he the hater and the hatee?
Yeah,
I think
Is
he's
he the
both.
subject
I
of
mean,
hate and the hater?
I think he's more, maybe he's the subject of hate and then like found a productive way of generating that hate into just work and proving them all wrong is what I think that is. It's like
He was
just yeah, he finds a way to be productive out of like everything. And like if it's going to be being hated on, then it's just like, well, just watch what I do with your hatred. It's almost like the greatest fuck you. It's like, let me take your hate and like turn it around on you and like win a chip off of it. I don't know.
he was doing that to his teammates.
cast. He was cast into the pool of hatred, and he's like, "Watch me backstroke.
Yeah, it's fucking
I'm gonna swim
fire.
around and splash you as you're on the outside with."
And like
Heat
just
water.
the legacy of that, I think it's changed the NBA. I mean, even like I don't know, like Kevin Durant has that Mamba mentality for sure to me, and like he's a total weirdo, and like I don't know, I do really like these types of players that are like strange, and like Kawhi is like kind of weird like that too, or just like it's like what's going on in your head, but actually don't tell me because it's like your secret weapon, and like yeah.
So a guy on the Lakers, a new player on the Lakers, who kind of embodies some of these ideas.
Hillbilly Kobe.
Who has that? Who has some of these inclinations towards anger and hostility is a guy named Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about the Lakers. You've said you've had some concerns about how he's going to fit in with this team. So far, 2 games in the preseason. He's played about a little over 40 minutes. 4 of 19 from the floor, 15 turnovers. Guys,
Combined.
how are we feeling? Combined. That's,
Yeah.
yes, 4 of 19, 15
I know he had
turnovers
6
in
turnovers in
two.
one quarter during that Warriors game, but
Yeah, I thought he had.
then it was
more.
9 last night.
Yes, last night was 9.
I mean, classic Russ, right? Like, Alana, are you
Yeah.
excited for this roller coaster of a season you're about to get on?
I mean, 100% excited.
Yes.
Like I just have to say, like I've been definitely weird about Westbrook. He was actually one. I mean, talk about me growing up and watching the NBA. Like Russell Westbrook was one of my favorite players in the NBA, if not like my favorite on OKC. And just like watching him, I used to just watch dunk compilation videos of him. I met him actually in LA, and it was like, actually, Dietrich, you and I have back-to-back photos. Remember we took a photo of like the photo of me and
yeah.
him and the photo of you and him? That should be the
Just
cover of your guys' podcast.
This Westbrook gang.
Yeah, Westbrook.
It's the
gang.
West book. Yeah.
Yeah, but so anyway, he's been a favorite of mine, but then obviously he's hard, and I would just say like it. Listen, it's hard trying to talk myself into being the 3rd team in 3 years, trying to talk them into Westbrook. Like it's just like, but I just think it might just work. Like let's just, on the other hand, like I want to see 3 big dudes gang banging the rim. Like that is exactly
Wow.
what I am like. We're going hard. Like it's big boys only theory. Like I can get in. Like it's just like I'm just gonna go with that at this point. Like 3-point shooting might be completely overrated. Like we need
I like
all we
this.
need is just grit and defense. Big boys pounding the ball, dunking it, dirty work in the paint. Just threes
You
are
were-
for
you were-
softies.
You were going to find a very susceptible audience to that here on this program that believes that dunks are for winners,
Yep.
threes are for losers.
Ethical.
Like those who can jam.
Yeah.
can't.
Oh my
You
God.
you
yeah.
go over there. You go hang out 22 feet on the other side, and you guys can chuck some things at the basket. We're gonna be over here windmilling,
Yeah.
tomahawking, stuff like that.
Just going hard in the motherfucking paint, honestly. And basically, like, I think, like, that's just enticing to me. And I think, number one, okay, well, some more just, like, good pros about Westbrook is, like, I do think he has, despite what people say, like, a unique, well, I think everyone would agree he has a unique energy. He always is interesting the way he adapts to new teams. He's obviously ball dominant. I think he's getting better at moving off the ball. I think Buddy Yield would have been more of a natural fit because he's just a straight shooter, and I was a big fan of his. But with that said, like, the explosiveness and the energy and the dynamism, I think it's going to be really good for AD, actually, because I think AD can get a little bit lazy naturally, and I think Westbrook will get him into shape. I think I listen. I mean, Westbrook's hard on himself too. He's kind of like he said last night, like, that that was my bad. Basically, like, that has nothing to do with Vogel's. He said the turnover stuff is on me. Like, good thing this doesn't count. And mistakes were made. I think, like, passing and turnovers is a problem. Our perimeter D is totally struggling. But at the same time, like, I was just, let's just, judging from preseason is obviously foolish. Like, AD, LeBron, and Russ haven't even played together, which is the three, and I think there's a lot to look forward to if we can just get out of the mindset that, like, wins and losses count right now in the preseason.
How the hell are DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard gonna coexist? Can those two kings coexist?
I'm, like, not liking DJ. I mean, like, the thing is, he'll probably end up starting. I don't know. I just think, like, how funny is, like, have you guys seen, like, that bit about him being, like, the locker room MVP? Like, everyone just, like, loves his vibes in the locker room.
This is clearly the case, though, because he was somehow shoehorned into the net signing of KD and Kyrie. And they were like, and of course, DeAndre comes with us. And then that's, I presume, like, oh, yeah, for sure, man.
And people are chasing after him.
Gotta get DAJ over here.
And, like, the whole Clippers team rallying around him. I'm like, he's a well-loved dude, right?
Yeah, he just must be, like, the homie. It's so crazy. Like, I saw, like, Russell Westbrook wrote that, like, he, like, filled in, like, best. He obviously filled himself in his best dressed. Filled in, like, DJ as, like, all-around best guy. I'm just like, this is an interesting angle. I never would think. I mean, I would think so. He's a good guy, but, like, just to be, like, everyone's favorite guy, and also just, like, not my favorite guy on the team. Like, I would, so I think with DJ and Dwight, like, I don't know. I think if Frank Vogel insists on starting DeAndre, I'll kill myself, because I just think, and also if he does, we know AD is lying and he wants to play more center. Right. But I just think, like, I'd rather have Dwight get more minutes. Dwight's clearly the better player. I don't know. AD should start center most of the regular season, but interchange with both DJ and Dwight. I just think, like, there's so much fucking pressure on AD right now, and it's just, like, especially with the defensive issues that we're having, like, everything is on AD, and also he's, like, prone to injury. So
you got to put him on ice, right? Like, he has to have, like,
dude, he was, like,
literally
dunking crazy last night, and I was like, honestly, chill.
yeah, he has nothing to prove at this point.
Well, AD's always had that issue where he wants to play power forward and not center. I don't know if it's, like,
he claims he wants to play center.
So I think what happened is that
he
said, he's always playing the 4. And, like, everyone's kind of, but then he's, like, teasing us. He's like, I want to be playing the 5 more. And I think Frank, I think he said that in training camp. He was like, you'll see me playing center a lot more. And then I think Vogel's probably going to walk that back a little bit. I don't know what starting five
you gotta update us here, because to me the idea that the Lakers would start Russ, LeBron, AD, and a non-shooting 5 strikes me as, like, preposterous.
Yeah, no, I'm going.
I am a favor of big boys gang banging the rim and all that. Yes, sure,
Hey.
sure. But that was
No,
Alana's
for
phrase,
sure,
not mine.
for sure. No, I think
But
I'm going LeBron.
I don't see how you
Westbrook.
even attempt that lineup.
Yeah, no, because so I want Bazemore to start, I think.
Wow. The Vax God. The
Yeah.
anti-Vax God.
Is he?
I think they're all vax now, though, right?
No,
Oh,
they
he
must
got
be back. Yeah,
He
yeah,
got
yeah.
the jab.
We're only
I think
Good
all the
on
Lakers
him.
are.
ouchie, ouchie, yeah.
Um,
No,
I mean,
I'm down for Bazemore. He's got this like good energy, I think. I think the 3 spot would be him. He's healthier. Oh, well, so Ariza is out, and that makes things more complicated too. Trevor
ankle
Ariza
surgery, right?
has an ankle thing, and there's not too many good two-way players. And obviously throwing Melo in, there'd be no defense. I think Baze is a good defender, but he's so what's weird about that is that like they're all kind of small. Like Wayne Ellington and Westbrook are also kind of small. So I just like wonder what that would. I feel like they're like I feel like he's like 6'4" or something. I don't know. We'll see with that. I think like as far as shooters go, Malik Monk is gonna eat it this year. Top 5 player in
Nice.
on the Lakers.
Nice.
Another hot take.
Yeah,
of
wasn't
mine.
sure how you're going to end that sentence.
Yeah, sorry.
Top 5. What about
5
Taylor
players
Horton-Tucker?
in the what?
I like THT a lot.
He's
I
gonna have a
think
big role, right?
He's talk about. Oh, what's funny, Leo, when you were bringing up like the intergenerational stuff and like not being able to talk to younger kids, I thought you were talking about NBA players for a second because THT is
Totally.
20 years old. I'm
He's-
like, you can't talk about him because he's only 20.
How is do him and Trevor Ariza have anything in common to talk? Trevor Ariza is older than Obi Toppin. I remember he was drafted by the Knicks in 1971.
Yeah, I mean, I think they don't. I think THT is just young and energetic and I mean, Ariza is good. Like my fear with Ariza is that like basically I just want to try out different shit and I feel like I think like if Vogel basically claims that there's like all of these like defensive he's like a defensive mastermind. He has all these possible configurations and I think I don't know. I think we would be falling onto a security blanket with Ariza, and also Ariza's not healthy. So I think like trying shit out is gonna be kind of cool and like different configurations. And
I do wonder how much guys like, say, AD's personal preferences on where to play come into effect, or if it is Vogel having some limitations on how he views basketball. That maybe like Doc Rivers, he is a defensive first guy. Remember, this was
right.
a man who used Dave West and Roy Hibbert and went super big, and that was how he made his name. Like defense first, 2 traditional bigs. We're going to shut you down. We'll figure out the rest later. And I wonder how that works because with a team like the Lakers currently have right now, I'm also not that concerned about their defense, even though it's been porous in the preseason. They just have
Right.
not been intact as a team. But I kind of wonder, like, can you build a very good offense despite having the wrong ideas if you have guys who are as brilliant and explosive as LeBron and Russ?
Like
Or
on Vogel's part.
does it like collapse? I really don't know. You know what I mean? Can you not have good ideas offensively and not be progressive offensively and just have that kind of playmaking from LeBron and Russ and just have it save the day? Maybe that's possible.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's yet to be seen in terms of like we haven't seen the 3 guys on the court, and I am curious. Just like we see THT being explosive and Malik Monk, and like they have the spirit, and like I just think like I think THT's shooting's regressed a little tiny bit, but like I hope he comes back with a greater jump shot, but I want to see him step up defensively and play alongside AD and not be afraid. And I think that would give us like a ton, like I'm down for like lineup flexibility and just like tons of options. And then that would help because AD wouldn't have to strictly play alongside LeBron in that way. And like there would just be more options. And I think Vogel said we'll be switching it up a lot. And I'm just curious how that's going to look with AD. We literally don't know if he's playing the 4 or the 5. Like, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just like I'm down for the spirit right now when like they're not playing with the vets, and then I hope that they can like easily. I mean, dude, Hillbilly Kobe, like Austin Reeves, like I think he can. Have you heard that nickname? I think that's so funny.
No, I don't even know who he is.
Dude, he's like the new Caruso. No.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
of
new
course.
like that. Mac McClung is lurking. He may make the cut, but I love this LA team because me and Ben always talk about on this pod, like, it's the one franchise in the NBA that doesn't lean on like the lunch pail blue collar narrative. Like the Lakers are just like, we're prettier and better than you. And they don't have any of that like noise that we're so used to, like you're talking about, being like, well, we work hard, and like Kobe's fueled by demons, as you said, demons of vanity, you know. And I love this because the hubris in the construction of this team is off the charts. It's like, okay, they got the GOAT, they got AD. They won a strange championship already, and now they're just like piling like whipped cream, a cherry, M&Ms, gummy bears, just like all on top of it, being like, it doesn't matter what we do because we're gonna win again because we have LeBron James.
No, it's Laker exceptionalism, and I dig that because it is so different from, say, Heat culture, with like, we want to get the right kind of guys for our program. They're cut out for this. Lakers kind of do that, but it's like, this Schroeder guy, I'm not sure he's really a Laker. What does it even mean? It doesn't even mean anything. I don't know if he's a Laker. Like, but he skates. He had a blonde thing in his hair. Like, that seems like a Laker. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
not a Laker.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess like that. What you're saying it's endlessly fascinating. It doesn't make me that psyched on my team. That's like part of it is like a bummer because sometimes I feel like we're not doing things. Like, I do enjoy nerdy basketball, and I do enjoy like special players and like the mathematics of certain teams, but like, and I worry that sometimes the Lakers are, yeah, like, what is this? Like, just all these
It's
friends?
amazing.
Like, it's just, it's actually never been done. And actually, like, yeah, with that Chris Paul trade, whatever, when what's his name said that couldn't happen because of a super team. It's like, well, look where we are now. It's like,
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm like a little embarrassed by it, but I'm too curious, and it's too different of a vibe. And yeah, the glamour's there. I mean, I was just listening to the NBA show or whatever, and they were talking about this kind of thing where, like, if you're the Lakers, like, do you really need draft picks all the time when people are just always trying to come anyway? And like, you don't really need to be as, prudent with like these long-term plans, because like people are just so drawn to the glamour franchise of it all that it's like, what? Yeah, they can kind of coast on being more spontaneous because like people just want to come. And I actually think I think they were talking about how the Nets are kind of becoming that, because like, yeah, people are just drawn to that instead of like, yeah, needing to really rely on draft picks.
I would agree with that, and I feel like when you look at the New York franchises and the LA franchises, you had the Knicks and the Lakers are kind of, the very sort of, they're anomalies in that they're very much like family businesses, and in a way that other ones are not. Other ones are run like corporations, and there's all this turnover in terms of personnel, and they have to change their entire corporate outlook. And okay, we're a metrics organization now, we're doing things this way and that way. And the Knicks and Lakers always believed that they could survive off of being a glamorous team in a big market. And this, of course, did not serve the Knicks as well, but they always believed it to be the case.
I was just talking with someone about that. It's like, I feel like this should be the case with the Knicks right now, but no one's built it, at least right now. Like, no one's being like, hey, it's just crazy because they've got the best stadium in like the league, basically, and like, I mean, endless pros.
Isn't this just I sometimes, and you guys, what you're talking about is totally correct, right? The James Dolan has said this, like, we don't use draft picks, we are Showtime, Showtime. But the only reason it worked for the Lakers is because of one guy. Like, if they don't get LeBron James, they're a joke, right? Like, their strategy does not work. And if the Knicks don't get LeBron James, it doesn't work for them either.
Right, and I'm
You
with
need
you,
to
Andrew,
start,
because
and that's why the Knicks haven't begun
There's
this
two
time
guys.
around.
Yeah.
well, right, the Lakers got a little bit luckier in that they got a bunch of number 2 draft picks, and the Knicks never got those except for R.J. Barrett. That was one thing that the Lakers did right. That was also just a natural strategy, because the Knicks don't like being really bad, and when they are really bad, it's kind of accidental. And the Lakers may be doing the same things, but we're just really bad and got like Lonzo, Ingram, and like another 2 pick there somewhere.
Baby Lakers.
I forget who it was. Oh, Russell. They literally got 3 number 2 picks.
D'Angelo
and
Russell,
the Knicks did not have that wealth of talent coming in. But to Andrew's point, it was the LeBron said he wanted to play in LA, or his wife wanted to live in LA versus wanting to live in New Jersey or
And I think that's the
in
argument
Tribeca.
for all of these big boys coming to the team. It's just like, hey, welcome to the party. Like, let's just, let's all hang out in LA together in our late 30s.
Oh, Carmelo's here. You're a gummy bear. Get on the Sunday. Okay. Well, who else is here? DeAndre.
Mid-range Kings unite.
You're Rainbow Sprinkles. Let's go.
Rondo, Graham Cracker,
are just making it
crush them up.
It's just a chaos Sunday.
It's such chaos, and it's going to be amazing. And
It's just going to be so interesting to watch. And, I don't know. Westbrook, again, the explosivity that comes out of him, I just think it's going to get people hyped up. I think there's an explosive nature to
He's gonna be
THT. I think Malik Monk has it in him. I think it gets AD hyped. There's going to be some dynamism going on. And, the rim is going to catch fire, honestly.
Alana, explain this Malik Monk hype machine to me, because, as a Kentucky product, I always thought he was destined to kind of find his way to the Knicks with this new regime. I'm looking at his career stats. He's played 4 years. We've seen a lot of him. He is not a good basketball player. What is this optimism that puts him to this fire level that he's all of a sudden at?
I mean, I guess I just, first of all,
could it be the uniform?
I mean,
Monk. I don't know, man. I think I'm trying. The secret of it all is that I, am just looking at our shooters and going, these guys have to work. But I'm also thinking he's a scorer who demands shooting, and I think he can. I think the question is, can he make wide open shots, because LeBron and AD will be sharing the ball. That goes for him and THT. But I don't know. I think he has some energy. I don't know if he's going to be a starter or not. I'm down to insert him because Ariza just got injured. But it's more just I don't know. The insecurity of it all is just that that our roster isn't actually as deep as we thought it was.
well, Monk is very much a half full, half empty guy here.
Yeah.
Because if you look at his career and his outside shooting, which the Lakers are 100% going to rely on, you can look at last season and say, look, this guy shot 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a 40% shooter. But then you go back, the year before that, 282, 330, 342.
I mean, I do think he has pristine shooting mechanics. It's I think his numbers aren't mind blowing, but it's his 5th year. He's getting into the groove. Maybe he'll level up every single year, like Ingram has or something. I don't know.
Without a doubt, yeah, for sure. And
in the presence of gods, I think that's going to give him so many wide open
demons.
shots. And the good thing is that he's also a mid-range king, and that's another asset that we have.
You don't want Malik Monk shooting mid-range with this squad, right?
No,
if he shoots
I don't.
3 of those, right?
But he has a jumper, and I think he could thrive in the starting 5 a little bit.
I agree. I mean, we're forgetting about Kendrick Nunn, too, who I think is a more valuable player than Malik Monk, just because he can create his own shot and take defenders off the dribble.
Is he as quick on defense?
Neither of these guys are known for their defensive prowess. And that'll be interesting, right? Because the Lakers have a fantastic defense, but it happens around the rim.
Right.
James Johnson's house, as they say.
The motherfucker.
If you're interested in renting it out.
Yeah, I think he's fast. I think he's quick on defense a little bit. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Again, we haven't seen them with the 360, 360 the world, aka the world, LeBron, AD, and Westbrook. But yeah, we'll see. I think his performance, again, if we're not talking wins and losses and like, saying that preseason matters, like Monk has given us a good preview of what he can do in preseason. He's been kind of nasty in preseason, I will say.
And then
he's a
already
dead-eye
hurt,
shooter.
Right? And yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be there at the end, even if a couple of these guys go down.
That's true. Honestly, Malik Monk, THT, Lakers, like this is an 0-4 preseason team. Let's talk about some winners.
Oh yeah, the Knicks.
So tweeted by Woj, Sixers officials and Clutch CEO Rich Paul have progressed in talks over recent days on a resolution to bring All-Star Ben Simmons back to Philadelphia in the near future, sources tell ESPN.
Jeez, man.
Can I give my quick interpretation of this?
Yes, please.
Go off, King.
We've always said that Ben Simmons' trade scenario was one-sided. People still somehow don't believe this. They think that Daryl Morey was lying when he said Ben Simmons came to me for a trade, and we decided to ask around, and we ended up here. People still believe that Philly just wanted to deal him, and then Simmons got offended by this. I don't believe that's the case. I think Philly tried to trade him for James Harden, but after the season, this has all been one-sided. It's all come from Simmons and Clutch and Rich Paul, and that's how we are where we are. This little update, Woj would not say this, in my opinion, if it wasn't coming from both Daryl Morey and from Rich Paul. He obviously has good relationships with both sides, and he's not going to lie on behalf of one without confirming it with the other. So I look at it as if Daryl Morey has sort of maybe won this first round a bit, where he said, no, we're not trading you for junk. You're too good. You're too much of a part of this team, and we are cooked without you. So maybe he said, as an olive branch to Ben Simmons and to Rich Paul and to Clutch, look, I know you don't want to keep losing millions of dollars, but also there's nowhere for me to trade you right now that I'm willing to do.
I honestly, as of just an hour ago when this came out, I was kind of under the impression that he might go to the Pacers, and then that could be a pretty fair deal for his services with Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert and a first round pick. I thought that could have gotten
an offer though, right? You thought that was fair?
I think it's
they're
fair.
Not bad offers when there's no other offers. In a vacuum, you can say, well, no one else is giving you anything great. But if you're Daryl Morey, you're like, well, we're never beating Brooklyn in a million years with that team, so why would we do it?
I agree.
So I don't know. I mean, Rich Paul is demanding Ben Simmons has his money.
Right. So my main takeaway here is that I think both sides are like, okay, you're not going to trade him right now for a deal that you're not excited about. He's not going to accrue enough value sitting around to make that kind of deal possible. So let's figure out a way where he can play. You will still be looking around the league for trades, as will I, Rich Paul.
Right.
Because Rich Paul's not in the dark. He knows every single trade proposal that Daryl Morey knows. He knows all of it. So I think this does make sense if the goal is ultimately to get him traded, where Ben can save face, the organization can save face, Rich Paul saves face, Daryl Morey saves face, and then he plays, and there's this kind of tacit understanding that everyone's going to monitor what's available for trade because he doesn't really want to be there.
Right. It's kind of, where do you want him to go? You want him to stay?
I don't care.
Oh,
if he stays with Philly,
you care.
No, I'm saying no. I actually don't. I'm being honest.
Let's just say, do you want him to go to Sacramento and flourish with De'Aaron Fox?
That would be great.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. I don't necessarily want to see Ben Simmons play under Doc Rivers anymore. If they're going to change the way he was used and make some concessions, and that's part of this resolution, that would be interesting to me. But seeing him stand around in the dunker spot and getting blamed for not scoring enough, no, I'd rather see him running wild in Golden State or Portland and having a team that he's dictating where guys go and how the offense works. That would be more fun because I think he's a really good player and he's underused here.
I think selfishly, Doc's Doc's vibe is just that like maybe playing with an unhappy Ben Simmons might ultimately be better than playing with a package deal player. Like I don't know.
For sure. Yo, I don't think the fans can handle Ben Simmons coming back.
I don't think they can either.
He broke a majority of those fans, and there's no coming back from that. It's turned into a religion. As a Knicks fan, let's go. Bring him back and let's set that entire cheesesteak city on fire. You know, like, it's so fun because in the end, it's just sports, and maybe people just will mellow out because right now it's like this weird existential anger that this fan base has that has kind of like lost me a little bit, but is also
and I think
maybe
lost
the fun
themselves.
Of it.
It's like, who are you guys? If I don't know, there's no love in the club.
Exactly. But like, this is just procedural, right? Like, I think if we found this out right after they got bounced by Atlanta and asked ourselves what's going to happen between now and opening day tip off, this is probably our prediction, right? It's like, and by this time they'll say like maybe they're trying to rehash it. This looks great for his value because it can't get any lower. Yeah. So saying he wants to come back helps him. It doesn't help Clutch because obviously you want his value to be the lowest possible so he can go play with De'Aaron Fox instead of being traded for De'Aaron Fox.
But it's also a interesting tipping point to where his perceived value is so low that teams are blackballing Daryl Morey, and Daryl Morey says, fuck all that. I'm not taking garbage for this guy. I know his value. So maybe that had tipped too far in one direction where people were saying, he's like a top 100 player in the league. I don't know if I'd, give up Time Lord for him. And you're like, okay, Daryl Morey's not going to accept anything that's being floated his way. Yeah. So now we have to figure out a way to actually get his value up. And of course, Daryl Morey's like,
did you hear that noise?
No.
Okay, cool.
Did not hear it. Was it? And Daryl Morey's like, you can get your value up by playing. You can play. You can come here and be a star. That'll help you get your value up. And he's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Which is just, it's all weird. It's just all, contributing to the weirdest vibe ever in Philly, where he's going to maybe be heavily booed in his first game back. And I don't know. What's the latest on what Joel thinks about him? Like, I know he said he felt disrespected. And...
Oh, Officer Embiid? Undercover Joe? Number one snitch in Philly.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yo, what is Joe doing? It's just like, well, this is what I think. And Jimmy, he'll tell you he left because, like, yo, this is some, like, he's wearing that Yankees fitted. He's got those Air Force Ones on, denim jeans. He's got that V-Lone shirt. Something's up. It's kind of bumpy in the chest area. Terrible look, man.
That's awesome.
He's got his antisocial social club long sleeve on.
It's fucked, man.
Well, no, I thought Joe got baited by Clutch, who also is just, their lone strategy has been to try to coax Sixers fans into lunacy, and Sixers fans like, yes, do it.
It's bizarre.
And Joe got trolled too, because what Clutch offered was the most innocuous sort of statement. It was what everyone has said in the media. Well, we just don't think Ben and Joe are really
right. And I think I think Doc kind of fucked things up too, because he said whatever he said, and then he felt he was misinterpreted and saying, because they asked him,
that's cap, as they say.
Yeah, when they asked him, can you win a
Doc just lied so bad.
Yeah, it's like they
Doc said shit on tape, and it was like, go back and check the tape. I didn't say that. I'm like,
but that alone is what,
like no,
his chaotic explanation of like, wait, that's not what I meant, is exactly what rings true about what he meant. Like,
Doc Rivers demon time?
Yeah, it's like, obviously, your weirdness about it, and like, kind of like saying, that's not kind of what I meant, that was in the heat of the moment. Like, you basically said no when you were asking you win a championship with Ben Simmons. Like, when he had just played, like, I don't know, like, all of that is chaotic, and I think the truth is revealed in the way that he kind of produced those statements. Yeah.
And the most basic sports fan would say like Ben Simmons is good. He's an all-star. He's been an all NBA player, but he lost. And you win or lose, and they haven't won with Ben, so get him out of here. And I'm like, well, Doc Rivers has been on this team for 1 year, and the whole thing is on fire.
Dude,
like
Doc can't catch a break, man.
Well, he creates this himself, right?
He created it.
He did this with Paul George in the Clippers.
Yeah.
Like there was no love in LA with Doc Rivers.
No, which I loved.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as a Knicks fan, I love the Sixers stuff too, and he's famous for being a locker room uniter, right? And the player whisperer. He has the ear of the player and the front office. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that. The whole thing's like, they had a championship team on the court, and Doc Rivers, it took him 12 months to dismantle that whole thing, maybe.
Right,
it's
dude.
Wild.
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at the way that Doc used Ben and Joe and not say this is something that directly contributed. Or maybe I missaid that. It directly contributed to what we have right now. Because when Brett Brown was there were minutes that were Joe minutes. There were minutes that were Ben minutes. And then you had the ones where they were on the court together. But Simmons always had an opportunity to run a lineup that was like, cultivated around his strengths. And right. Joe even alluded to that when he mentioned, we got Al Horford to play with him. Mm-hmm. As one should. You should have a center who actually likes taking threes, unlike Joe, to spend some time around Ben. Or just use Ben at the 5 with a bunch of shooters around him. But Simmons absolutely needs to play with a big man or at least 4 teammates who enjoy taking threes, which Joe is not one of them. Tobias is not really one of them either. But this year, they didn't do that. They had Dwight and they had Tony Bradley, and they did not have any real stretch bigs. So Ben all of a sudden spent his entire season playing in the half court with Joe, standing in the dunker spot. So, this was Doc. This was all Doc. Daryl Morey told him, use Ben at the 5. Brett Brown never had this situation. Things didn't erupt under Brett Brown because Brett Brown split them up and let them do their thing together. That's not what happened this season. Yeah.
And now I guess there's just a battle of the point guard position. Or I guess, the last I read was Doc was just not worried that they don't have a point guard.
Well, he was saying Shake Milton is his man, and the fans are like, wait, could it be Doc's fault?
Yeah.
I find this fascinating, right? Because people are mad at me because I defend Ben Simmons, but then I say something against Doc, and everyone's like, we agree. I'm like,
then who's...
No, it's all... Ben Simmons was used properly, and you like how he didn't score at all, and but you also think Doc is terrible? I don't know. I feel like people have lost their way. They've just lost
the haterade over there.
And this happened with the Knicks, with Dolan in the early aughts and the mid aughts, before Linsanity. It's just a deviation of a behavior. Right. It's just it's kind of it's gone into a hole that's hard to dig out of, and the Knicks have never been lucky enough to have a team as good as the Sixers ever, maybe since the 70s. So it's amazing to see as a Knicks fan having this crumble in the same way but with a much better team.
It's like a fucking soap opera.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm just excited to see Ben play with Sixers fans losing their mind. That's gonna be really entertaining to me.
Yeah, he might have to pull out that Mamba mentality.
I think he has that Mamba mentality, right?
Yeah. He kind of does. Look, this is a guy who made a mockery of the NCAA. He refuses to take dumb mid-range jumpers.
He's Australian.
He basically said, I'm going to attempt... He's Australian. He said, I'm going to attempt the most audacious trade demand in, modern NBA history. Doubt him at your own peril.
Yeah.
About that life.
See what happens.
Look, I'm not going to give any specifics here, but I had someone texting me who is very close to this situation, and they were like, they were not someone who should have been allied with Ben Simmons on this. And they were like, I'm proud of him.
Yeah, man.
And
I feel like that's you.
Sixers fans don't... I am close to the situation.
Incoming text from Ben Dietrich.
Yeah.
No, really. Someone you would not anticipate.
Yeah.
Was like, I'm really proud of him. The organization has done him dirty. and like he stood up for himself like he should have been. And people don't understand how the organization like got rid of his people, et cetera, et cetera. And they're
yeah, I guess I'm down to
like,
watch
we're proud of him
just
for standing
play,
up.
too.
And like, if you knew what was happening internally, you would get why this was like important for him to do.
They're like slapping his ass in the locker room too.
Before we go, can I run a theory by you guys? And this is like, this whole summer's fueled by Shams, Woj. Woj just reported this today. I would argue this is like non-news. It's like, well, they're trying to work it out. I'm like, of course they are. This is Maury's whole point of view, right? And it's just like Ben Simmons now wants out. And we're like, well, we knew this months ago. All right, Alana, I got this theory.
What?
That Woj is a snitch and a cop for a living. We know this. He's like, I love middlemen, but he's the ultimate middleman, right? Like, he's not creating the news. He's not the one that we're talking about. He's just stepping in the middle and delivering it. I think Shams is a Woj plant. And I think in order for us to get off the scent that Woj is an undercover cop wearing a bumpy-ass V-Lone tee, that he has, he mentored Shams, and I think he's having Shams create an arms race. So we concentrate on being like, I'm Team Shams, I'm Team Woj, instead of just being like, oh, we don't really need this guy.
Right.
Does that make sense? Because remember, Peter Vesey was huge back in the day for the old heads, and then everyone just decided all at once that we didn't need someone to break these news stories.
Right.
Oh.
I mean,
Isn't this like creating a phantom opponent, like a classic ruse?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, man.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, this
like
is.
You have the biggest like burger chain in the city, and you open your only competitor, and you're like, oh, look at that crazy, scary burger opponent of mine.
I mean, who benefits from Woj? Who benefits from Shams the most? It's Woj, right?
Yes. Or, I mean, me. I don't know. I mean, you can go on and on about the Woj
or Alana. Those are it's
saying,
Alana or Woj. Those are who benefits.
People say what they will about Woj and Shams. At the end of the day, like,
People love them, right?
People love them, but they also kind of hate them now.
Do
and
they?
I feel like there was bubble drama.
Ethan Strauss wrote a piece
Woj.
about them. Ethan Strauss wrote a blog post recently about, like, do we need Adrian Wojnarowski? Like, and then we found out, like, John Skipper, who I think that's his first name, who was in charge of ESPN, was furious at Woj for leaking draft picks minutes before the draft, which is like ultimate snitchery. Like, what's the point of that? So he hired him back in order to like have that in his house again, but he just kept on doing it. That's like, imagine you're chilling at Clandestino and somebody is just trying to take all of your Lakers takes and just like announce them 2 minutes before you do. You're like, THT is a big deal. Alana says so, and she thinks Malik Monk might have a breakout season. And you're like, yo, I'm sitting right here. I was gonna say that.
I was gonna say that.
I think losing Caruso is gonna really hurt the Lakers. Oh, yeah, Alana's about to tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think also like Lakers fans have trouble with Woj. They were kind of feeling like he was dropping subtle hints of like just not fucking with the Lakers. That's what people try to do, is they try to extract meaning out of. They try to extract opinions out of him, and it's tough because it just becomes like theorizing and just like I don't know.
One thing about Woj, people forget about Woj because he became like just the news update guy, that there was very little editorializing. But if you went back to early in his career, I'm talking early, when LeBron was first coming up, around the time when Rich Paul and those guys were coming up, Woj was very different. He still would leak some news now and then.
He had more of an agenda, you think?
Well, his agenda specifically was incredibly pro Kobe Bryant. Like, he was just all about Kobe. Loved Kobe. Hated LeBron, hated Rich Paul, hated that entire crew. And maybe that's partially because agents are, his bread and butter when it comes to getting information. Mm-hmm. And the rise of Clutch presented at that point a threat to those agents who basically wanted him to speak on their behalf. At this point, Clutch is probably so prominent that he doesn't seem to have any issues with them. But if you go back, he was at Yahoo, I believe. There was an incredible amount of like anger and like leaked stories about Clutch, about LeBron, while always like bigging up Kobe. So him being anti-Lakers, even if Lakers fans feel that, there's evidence to the contrary in the past.
Right. And I don't even really, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like the whole thing was just that he seemed to have been making news breaks or leaks about kind of takes or whatever, just alerts that were unfavorable to the Lakers. But it's like, people are just paranoid, honestly. They're just like, does he have an agenda? It's like, you could maybe, you could think conspiracy-wise that he might, and he probably obviously has his opinions, but at the same time, he's just dropping the facts.
I like Lakers Nation be like, stop reporting bad news about us.
Yeah, it's like,
Not
come on.
cool, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it's happened, that there is bad news. I don't know. I think, yeah, he's been maybe cut out of LeBron's camp, and there's been some issues with that, and Clutch.
That's why he's got Shams, who is his little whisperer. Yeah.
I feel that.
I've never mentioned this on the show before. What? Someone sent me an email, and this was, well after the Colangelo story. Someone's like, I have another heater for you. I don't know who the person was. It was another anonymous person. I was like, okay. And they said, I think Shams is like 10 years older than he's claiming to be. And I'm like, that's funny, but that's not a story at all.
That's kind of good,
like he's claiming to be like 26, but he's really like 38.
What's he doing hanging out with 20-year-old players?
He is quite young. He's really young, Shams. Yeah.
Well, there was a whole hubbub about how tall he was, right? Everyone's like, yo, is Shams 5'2"? And they were doing like height comparisons.
That was just me and you.
Oh, that was just us?
Like, you can't tell how tall he is. Is he 5? Is he 6'2"? Is he 5'1"? No one knows.
It's
no
like
one knows how old he is or how tall he is.
It's like with these like statue types that are just here to spit facts. Like, yeah, people want to endlessly tear them apart and find some humanity out of them. Speaking of
he's
Shams,
claiming 27.
He just tweeted that THT has a torn ligament in his right thumb and it's going to be.
Why is he reporting bad news about the Lakers?
Yo, that's a big deal. Are we talking like half the season, or are we talking about like 6 to 8?
I mean,
is this
torn ligament in the right thumb?
Is this coming from 27-year-old Shams or from 40-year-old Shams?
Dude, that is.
Is it 5'1" Shams or 5'10" Shams?
They presented some kind of evidence that I didn't find that convincing, but I did look into it. I was like, I gotta know.
Yeah.
Incoming text from Ben Dietrich. How tall do you think Shams Charania is? I'm like, what? Everyone's talking about
hack. If it's not,
the streets are talking.
6 foot and 27 years old. He's a spy.
He is. It's not Malik Monk.
Alana, thank you so much for coming on. Your takes were magnificent.
Amazing.
Oh, good. Wow. I hope I did well in my first pod, but.
Will you be our Lakers correspondent moving forward?
Yes, I will always. I mean, yeah, let's cut to the playoffs. You will definitely be hearing from me.
Yes.
When we're.
That's perfect. And hopefully this show will get you more like packs of cigarettes mailed your direction. You can start a little cottage industry, however that goes. No shaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would love that, honestly. Everyone can know my Venmo account. It's Alana Champion. Help me get my money back from the James Johnson scam.
French James Johnson. Scammer. Thank you, Alana. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I hope everything goes well with your man Ben Simmons.
Oh, I appreciate it. Cookies. Yes, I'm sure it will.
I love cookies. I love cookies.
Cookies.
I love cookies.